Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 82 of Search for Me Sports. Today is August the 18th in 2026. I'm your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Austin Peay Governors, and partially Houston Cougars. Joined by my side, finally, he's back. Former offensive lineman for the Hendrix College Warriors, current man of electricity, Luke the Nuke Wallman, and joined virtually from, I still believe, hot Atlanta, Georgia, although the background's a bit more decorated. He has his finger up.
Houston, Texas,
because he is sick of school. Here is the man, the myth, the legend, Chase Cross, former kicker for the Troy Trojans and Houston Christian Huskies, current nephew of Scott Cross, Georgia Tech's basketball coach. Chase, why the hell are you in Houston?
Oh, just had the ability to come home this week. School doesn't start till the 24th. I got done with orientation and had nothing to do this week, so came home to see the home. So
lucky you. Not the case.
I know. Imagine being in law school right now.
24th is a great day, Chase.
Yeah, I love law school, right? It's something for sure. Let's talk about
come true, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't, I'll comment on it, and hopefully, this podcast doesn't circulate soon enough to my classmates.
I'm hoping that nobody at Coach finds this because I do not want to have to deal with that.
My kids know about it. They love it.
I know. I have 7th and 8th graders.
They want to come on. Like it's
who will relentlessly bully me. I'll have to tell you some of the shit they say. I can't say it on this.
Yeah.
So.
I had the first day, Chase. I looked at this kid and we were talking, and I go, "Man, you nervous?" He goes, "No, I'm super excited. Like, I couldn't sleep. I was so excited for this." And I was like, "Dude, that must be nice because, like, I could not be on the most opposite end of the spectrum of that guy." I mean, I think I get it. Good for you, dude, having an energy to learn, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I want to learn shit. I don't get juiced up for it like that. Like I did for UFC 330.
School?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, man, look, I got juiced before football games. I guess bro gets juiced before class. Everybody has their own juice. I mean,
Probably an incel. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Calm down. That wasn't even that bad.
No.
Calm down.
We'll see if the producer cuts it or not. Cooler bull as we kick off every episode. Let's get right into it. I'm going to come out hot. Sunday Night Football this weekend is Newcastle versus Liverpool. Night as in UK time, 10:30 a.m. on our time. I think Newcastle beats Liverpool on match day 1, Chaser. This is especially directed towards you. Obviously, if you listen to the pod, this is a totally biased take for me when regarding my Premier League team, Newcastle United. However, there is some other sport justification about this. Teams that do poor in the preseason tend to do good in the beginning of the regular season. It seems like they focus all their energy into getting prepared for the actual matches. Newcastle's also been doing a lot of split squad, so it's kind of hard to base what's been going on right now based off friendly results. And we just signed that new Bosnian defender. I think the team, I do still think we are going to sign a couple more players by the, time the full team is formed. But I'm a believer in the youth and athleticism of this club. I think Liverpool is completely overlooking this Newcastle team, and they are also dealing with a array of injuries to their depth. So I think Newcastle pulls this one out late and is able to get 3 points on the board to start the Prem. I'll go Chase, then Luke. Cooler bull.
Complete bull. I'm sorry, Will. I'll be completely honest with you, man. I know we it's the hope that kills you. I'll be completely honest, but if we look at this Newcastle squad, they got absolutely ravaged in the transfer window this year. There's no bones about it. It has been a terrible transfer window. If you're a Newcastle fan, I feel so bad for the Gordies at this point in time because you not only lose Sandro Tonali, but you lose what's his face? Bruno G. It's hard to say his last name. So you lose two key players in the midfield already, and then you lose your best attacking threat with Anthony Gordon. I mean, it's not shaping up to be a good season, especially when you haven't replaced them.
The Geordies have done this time and time again, Chase. This happens.
I'm just gonna say, if you look at the squad that they've lost, like they haven't really replaced anybody. Like Isak, the transfer window before didn't really replace him. I mean, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but there's just not a ton of attacking options going forward, and I think the defense is subpar at best. It's just going to be tough, and I think this Liverpool squad. Now, I want to put this here. I don't think this Liverpool squad is fantastic, but I do think that they'll have their way with them in an opening game, and it's at Anfield, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I mean, you don't like Yohan Wissa, Bazamana Torre, or Anthony Alanga? I mean, I feel like those are three.
Oh, I do. I'm not saying like I
got
think
some
y'all
speed
will
up
be
front, Chase,
mid-table.
and I think you're disregarding
I
that.
understand that. I understand that. But Alanga has been very, very hit or
And
miss
by the
over
way,
the
it's
last
at
couple
St.
seasons.
James
I'm
Park. It's at
actually
St. James Park. Fuck that. The Gordies
well,
are taking it home.
I was gonna say that was gonna be my next argument. If it's at Anfield, then it was gonna be tougher. St. James Park, I could see maybe a draw. I don't see a Newcastle win. I could see a draw. I could see a draw. I'll give you a draw.
Home atmosphere in the Prem, undisputed.
That's complete lie, but yes, I mean you haven't seen Anfield yet. So, anyways, you know what? I'll sit here. I'll give you a draw.
You're
I'll
giving
give
me a
you
draw. Luke, cooler bull, man.
Well, I'm gonna shit on this take. Liverpool's gonna win.
Yeah. That's a ball no right there.
Chaser.
All right, so we're gonna stay with the completely biased takes in this segment. I'm gonna say that the Padres are gonna make a run in October, and here's why. Fernando Tatis is hitting the ball. He's hitting for power again. Machado's hitting for power, and Jackson Merrill is. And throughout the season, they were a 500 team without those three guys making an impact. And now that those three bats have gotten hot, Padres have gone on a little streak. Post trade deadline, Padres happens every single year for the past couple seasons. They get red hot. The Dodgers look like they're beatable. The rest of the NL, I mean, I think anybody can win a series, but we just saw the Padres sweep the Brewers last week. And so I feel good about this Padres team. I like what they did adding Casey Mize and Robbie Ray. Those are two top end starters. You're talking about getting, a guy like Joe Musgrove, Joe Musgrove back at some point. So, I mean, I think that this rotation will be solid. You've got the best closer in baseball. And then, your best players are starting to hit. If Xander Bogaerts comes along and just produces something, this Padres team could be special come October.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bull. They don't make the playoffs. And here's why. I think either the D-backs or Cardinals have that spot. With Baez coming up from AAA into the major leagues, I'm gonna give it to the Cardinals, man. I think the Cardinals are making the playoffs this year. I've kind of yet to be convinced otherwise. It's just too much offense on the end of the Cardinals. I think it's and Luke, I'm sure will agree as a Cardinal faithful. The bullpen is getting better. There is improvement, and the starting rotation has never really been an issue.
Starting rotation's top 10 in the MLB and ERA. I think we're 8.
I mean, if we go batter for batter, the Cardinals are by far the better offense compared to the Padres. The Diamondbacks are a solid option, and I think either team will beat out San Diego in this wild card race. I do think Philly.
Hold on, did you just say the Cardinals? The Cardinals batter for batter are a better offense than the Padres.
Correct.
When playing well.
Correct.
We're not talking about what we see in the majority of the season. When playing at their best, you think the Cardinals have a better lineup?
Whoa!
Than the San Diego Padres.
I mean, that's hypothetical. I'm talking about this season, batter for batter. Batter for
I mean,
batter
batter
this
for batter.
season.
I think that's completely. I mean, we can go through it, but I think that's a fallacy, man. But
Why are we putting up these big words?
Is it? And what kind of fallacy? Is it a logical fallacy? Is it? I mean, what kind of fallacy are we talking about here? Now,
I mean,
look, dude.
it's just
Here's the
so
thing.
many types, bro.
If you were in
I
the
can't even
if you
believe
were in
that.
the AL, if you were in the
That's
AL,
unreal.
you'd be in the playoffs, Chase. But you're in the NL. This is the tough division. This is the tough conference. Excuse me.
Well, we'll get
tough
into
league.
it when you see
Here's the
the
thing, Chase.
standings.
Here's the thing. You ain't gonna do it. Point blank. Period.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking at y'all's lineup tonight. Y'all got two
You want me
guys.
to read? You want me to read our
No,
next couple
no,
series?
no. How about you pipe down? Over
Look, I'm just look. We're talking about the batter.
You want to hear it?
thing.
You want to
Hold
hear
on.
who we have up next?
Buttling. You shut up, Chase.
Talking about the batter for batter thing.
We have the Twins.
Oh,
The
we
Twins
don't
who have
give a
been
shit about who y'all are playing
the
coming up.
Pirates.
Let me talk, because I'm gonna back you up. Just let me talk.
All right.
Don't let him
First
talk.
off-
I'm muting him.
I'm gonna first off, I'm gonna go lineup for lineup. Y'all have leadoff. I mean, our two best hitters are better than y'all's two best hitters. We have the two top guys in RBIs in the NL. They're both top 5 in the MLB. Burleson is hitting for better average than Tatis, and so is Walker. Burleson's been one of the best hitters post All-Star break. Also, y'all have, let's see, 1, 2, we'll call it 3 guys below 220 batting average. I mean, the Cardinals will field 1, maybe 2. I think across the board, average-wise, we're better than y'all. Now, I'm going to say this. I do think the Padres will make the playoffs. I think the Phillies will drop because the Phillies schedule, if you go look at the Phillies schedule, it is tough. They got to play the Braves twice. They have to play the Dodgers, the Nationals, who we can't sleep on the Nationals. They got to play the Brewers, the Braves, and I think the Yankees. So they have an extremely tough schedule. I think they will drop.
I mean, yeah, and Chase was making he was alluding to the Padres' upcoming schedule. I'm taking a peek at it now. I mean, they've got to play. They got to finish the series against the Mets, which again they lost the first game and currently are up 4-1, so they have the chance to win that series.
Two home runs by Tatis, by the way.
Minnesota and
But
Pittsburgh, Chase, I think a very, very gettable series for you. Also, it sets you up decently pretty. But I think this stretch at Tampa Bay,
the
at
Rays will be
Cincinnati,
tough, but the Reds
versus New
We'll be fine
York
with the
versus
Reds.
Washington is going to be a very tough 4-series stretch for the
and then you get the
Padres.
Giants, Rockies, Marlins.
And at the Rockies, honestly, is I mean, you'll probably split that, to be honest with you. I mean, the Rockies do typically play better at home.
We're just doing hypotheticals at this point.
And
This
my
is a playoff
hypothetical
team.
is
you cannot convince me
you're
otherwise.
not going to the playoffs. It'll be the Phillies.
We could put money up on. We can do a punishment or whatever you want to do.
Here's the thing.
Padres will
here's
be in
the
the
thing,
playoffs.
Chase. I mean, I think this never goes well for you, dude. It never does. I end up always getting a Venmo notification from Chase Cross at the end of these. You got to stop doing it at some point. You know where this started? We were on a. I never mind. This did not start anywhere in particular. It just started with the Colorado football team. Let's just say that. I won't mention where we were. I won't mention, but it started with and it was the dumbest fucking bet I've ever had with a person in my life. And I was like, this dude is so adamant that Deion Sanders is going to lead this Colorado team to a Big 12 championship. And I was like, this is the freest money I've ever received in my entire life. But I got to give it to the guy. I got to give it to the guy. He had shit to back it up, and he had shit that he was adamant about, and he was passionate, and he was just passionate about being wrong.
So
here's another instance where he's passionate about being wrong.
Before we get there, were you passionate about?
Let's put another $10 on it.
Did you see?
Oh my God! Have you seen the Colorado strength coach?
This is on a completely.
Yes.
Dude, it's so bad. No wonder they're all tiny. Like this is completely unrelated note, but yeah.
I think Deion Sanders probably gonna get fired.
Let's put $10 on it. Let's put $10 on it. But if both the Cardinals
Padres
and the
make the playoffs,
miss,
$10.
we
if they both make it, it's a wash.
If they both make it, it's a wash. If they both miss, it's a wash.
All right.
10-4. Luke, what's your hot or not?
The Cardinals will make the playoffs. Okay. So I think the Cardinals have an extremely easy schedule. They still have 2 more games with Cincinnati, which I think they can sweep. The tough game's going to be tomorrow. They got to pitch Liberatore, but Liberatore has been pitching okay. So, I mean, we got to look at Dobbins. Dobbins has been pitching really good for us. McGreevy's been good. How about Kyle Leahy? Since July, has like a 1.5 ERA. He's been one of the best pitchers in the league. All right. Talking about series. Our tough series, we got to play Philly, which we've already beaten, but it's at Philly. The Dodgers and
Milwaukee at the end of the season. Yeah.
And then I guess Chicago, but Chicago's at home. The Sox. So we get to play the Pirates, the O's, the Rockies, the Giants twice, the Nationals, and Pittsburgh. I think that is a extremely favorable schedule for us. It's all going to depend on the Diamondbacks. We have the tiebreaker over the Phillies, which is huge. I want to say we might have the tiebreaker over y'all, Chase. I'm going to go ahead and double check.
I think we
this.
do.
I know we do not have the tiebreaker with
Arizona.
I know that for a fact. Hold on, let's pull it up. No, we split. Damn it.
That does no good.
Oh
yeah,
we
tiebreaker.
So we got the tiebreaker with the Padres. We have some very important tiebreakers. We have a tiebreaker with every team outside of the Diamondbacks. I think that'll help us in the end. We're only a game and a half back right now, and we've won our last 5 series. And if I need to list off the 5 series, let's see if it'll load.
You know who's also won their last 5 series?
No, this isn't your.
All right, so
this isn't your.
You know who's actually won
this
their
isn't
last
your
6
cooler
series?
This isn't your cooler bowl.
What did you, Chase? Just let me talk. Cubs, Phillies, beat the Rockies, beat the Yankees. Oh wait, we've won 4 in a row. So yeah, we beat the Yankees, we beat the Rockies, which is whatever. We beat the Phillies and the Cubs.
Tough stretch.
That's a really good war of attrition. We're making the playoffs.
Luke, this take is absolutely cool. Absolutely cool. The Cardinals are totally making the playoffs. This team is destined for the playoffs. This team was born for the playoffs. You know, people were probably clowning on me on, watching the pod when we did our preseason predictions when I said the Rays and the Cardinals both make the playoffs. Look at me now, motherfucker. I also said the Rays were going to win the division. Crazy take. Look at me now. Crazy. So, Chase.
Some blind squirrel finds a nut every once
in a while. Chase, what cooler bowl?
Well, you know which way I lean. I've already said it. There's better teams in this field. I just don't think the Cardinals are a playoff team. They're a year out, and they probably will trade, people in the offseason. It'll be back. They're a year ahead of schedule, if we're being honest.
They are. They're completely a year ahead of schedule. I honestly thought they were
maybe 2 years.
You're a year ahead of going to fuck yourself.
They're a year ahead of schedule. I did not expect them to be in this position. I thought they'd be 500. Around the 500 mark. Well, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they'd be competing for a wild card spot, which they have been in the wild card for the better half of the season. Let me say that.
Cutting this off as we pivot now to the MLB Playoff Race.
The AL is so bad.
Dude. The AL is so bad, but it's so good. Those Tampa Bay Rays, who are 6 games up on the New York Yankees and are leading the Eastern Division of the AL. The Chicago White Sox taking care of business right now at 4 games on the Rangers, and the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros are up 2 games on the Rangers. Excuse me. The White Sox are up 4 games on the Tigers. Me and Chase kind of went, back and forth the other day, agreeing on most of what we thought was going to happen in the AL playoff race. However, Chase, we have seen that the Central hadn't really gotten any better. And 2, it's just the AL is through the East, and we now have had the Baltimore Orioles technically step into that spot to where we now have 4 East teams as I projected to move into the playoffs. I think it stays this way, except I'm still gung-ho that the Texas Rangers are going to take over the Astros spot. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the AL playoff race? I'll go Luker first and then Chase.
I honestly think that the Blue Jays, I think there's no way that since this race is so bad, there's no way with the star power they have that they should be able to miss the playoffs. I think it'll be insane to go from World Series 1 game away to losing and not even make the playoffs. So I think they'll be able to sneak in. Baltimore is how did we end up here? But the AL is so bad. I just don't.
So weak,
I will
man.
say, my bad. I did preface. I predicted the Blue Jays to be the 3rd of the four, or the fourth out of the four AL East teams to make the playoffs, not the Orioles. When we were talking like a couple weeks ago.
No, I think I had at the beginning of the season the Blue Jays missing the playoffs, but I just think there's no way with the star power that they miss. I do think the Astros will end up holding just because Yoran Alvarez is on crack, and he is one of the greatest hitters on the planet right now. So I think they will hold on just strictly based off of him.
Should be the AL MVP.
Chase,
Go
ahead.
He's going to win Triple Crown, possibly.
Yeah. I think it probably stays pretty chalky. I think it's shocking that the White Sox are going to win.
Yeah.
Their division in the AL Central. That blows my mind. I think the Rays hold on. I think the Rays will clinch the top spot in the AL. I think the Yankees top spot in the wild card. Red Sox will be in. I think it will be ultimately the wild card will be all AL East teams just because of how stacked that division is. And I think the Astros, with how Jordan's been playing, unfortunately, I hate to say, will be back in the playoffs because the Rangers, while they've been playing solid, they just can't seem to put together a decent win streak. And we're still a month out from come playoff time, and it's you got 30 games left to play with, so there's a lot of time for a lot of things to happen. But with these fine margins, but I do think that I would say the only team I could see maybe making a push because of the way that they've been playing as of late is the Blue Jays.
I just want to preface how cool a Yankees Red Sox wild card series would be, with the winner going to lose the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's move on now to the absolutely more exciting race, the NL playoff race. The Brewers have a stronghold question mark on the Central. Well, I mean, the Cubbies have brought it to 4 games, or 4.5, excuse me, which is, I mean, has gotten closer and closer. The Dodgers absolutely have a stronghold on the West. In the East, as of now, is 6 games up for the Bravos, 6.5, excuse me. Wild card right now, Cubbies sitting first with 6 games up. The Phillies in second with 1 game up. The Padres are the cut line. The D-backs are a game back. The Cardinals are actually 2.5 games back, so they have surpassed the Marlins. I don't know when this was posted on here.
They're 2. I thought they were 1.5 back.
I don't know.
They're
Right now
ahead of the Marlins right now.
They're ahead of the Marlins. So again, same posing question here. Who wins the division? Who makes the wild card? For me, I think the Brewers are clear cut the best team in the Central. I do think the Dodgers win the West, and I do think the Bravos win the East. I think we're going chalk right now in those divisions. I think their division leaders are very safe. In the wild card, I think the Cubbies are safe. Unfortunately, I think they are going to make the playoffs. And as I previously stated in Cooler Bull, so I'll keep it short and sweet. I do think it is Philadelphia and St. Louis. Again, with the Padres would be the other team. If I were going to say the Padres were going to make it, I would think it'd be St. Louis and San Diego due to the Phillies' hard schedule. I do think.
For like gentlemen's sake, let's just go with that. That's what we're rooting for here on the pod.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Oh, I think it'll be San Diego.
Bryce Harper is my favorite player, Chase. So there's a slight bias towards the Phillies.
Philadelphia.
Then you can watch Fernando Tatis highlights, and it'll change your life, bro.
It did. I know. I've seen the guy play. Actually, it pisses me off the way he looks. He's just way too lanky.
That's a beautiful man.
I mean, get it out of your
mouth. He's
mouth.
Beautiful.
But
yeah,
I mean, that's my favorite athlete in any
first,
sport,
dude.
so.
What do you see happening in the NL? You kind of voiced my opinion of that it's going to stay chalk in these divisions. What happens in the wild card?
Yeah. I think the division leads are pretty safe just considering how little we have left in the season. I mean, like I said, we're looking at 30 to 40 games left in the regular season. That's not enough to really make up a ton of ground unless one of these teams just fell off the side of the earth. I think the Brewers probably will hold on to the first spot in the NL Central. Now, I do think the Dodgers could push them for the first overall seed. I don't think the Braves will. The Braves have been very, very streaky. Granted that they've, I still think it's a good ball club out there in Atlanta and my home city now. But and I've gotten to see them play a couple times, but I just they have been very injury prone all season and they've just been really streaky post that really good May. And then the Cubs, I do think the Cubs are playing really well. I think Pete Crow Armstrong is an absolute dog, has had a great season this year. I actually thought they were going to regress a little bit after losing Kyle Tucker, but this Cubbies team is still pretty solid, playing some really good baseball. And then, I think it's a dogfight for those 5 and 6 team seeds. I think, Arizona's strongly in the mix there still. I don't really think Miami has a shot at it. So really, I think it's 4 teams for 2 spots. I think it's the Phillies, Padres, D-backs, and Cardinals. And if you kind of look at who's playing well over their last 10, like it shows by the metrics, I think San Diego has been playing really well in August, which, you can say what you want to say, but the Padres have played really well in August, and you would assume that would continue into September with a like one of the easier schedules. The Phillies have an absolute gauntlet to go through, so that leads me to believe that that's going to open the door for the D-backs or, potentially the Cardinals. So kind of my prediction there in the wild card. I think the Cubs will hold that 4 seed, and they'll get a rematch with the Padres, who are gonna take the 5 seed, kind of a rematch of the wild card last year. And then I actually do think the Cardinals get in and will be in for a matchup with the Braves, in the other wild card.
We'll be there.
I'll try, man. I'll try. Luke, how you see it going?
I think division leaders pretty chalk. I don't think the Cubs, they've struggled against the Brewers all year, and I just don't think they're going to be able to. They still have to play the Brewers twice, so I don't think they're going to be able to pass the Brewers. Shout out Kyle Tucker. Did y'all see the Dodgers announcers yesterday?
Nope.
They told him to send him down to AAA. That's how bad he's been, like in the field, on the bases, and hitting the ball. He has been abysmal out in LA, but I do think they'll probably end up being the second seed. I mean, you still have Shohei Ohtani, and that lineup is still loaded. So then we get to the wild card. I think the Cubs are safely in. PCA should be the MVP. He's the most valuable player in the league off of WAR, and he's the most valuable defender in the league. He's going to win the Platinum Glove, and he's hitting 280, hitting 30 bombs. He should be the MVP, even though how much I hate it. He should be it, unless
I
we're just
agree.
going to get because Ohtani isn't even pitching anymore, and if he wins it off of worse batting stats and he provides no value to the field, it's like your DH winning.
Yeah.
Like unless he's Yordan Alvarez and winning the Triple Crown, should not be happening.
I lost Chase here for a second.
That'll be fine. So I'm gonna go with it's gonna be the Padres and then the Cardinals. I just think the Phillies are they've been pretty bad post All-Star break. Kind of think that's gonna continue a little bit. So I think Cardinals are just gonna be able to sneak in there with their easy schedule. They have to beat the Reds the next 2 games, though. Got to beat the Reds.
I agree.
So,
I agree. As we get Chase back, AP Top 25 was posted. I believe it was yesterday. Pretty similar to the coaches poll. We have Ohio State at 1, Oregon at 2, Georgia at 3, Notre Dame at 4, Texas at 5, Indiana at 6, Miami at 7, A&M at 8, Ole Miss at 9, Oklahoma at 10. Rounding out our top 10, we have LSU, Tech, Alabama, USC, and BYU, 11 through T14. Michigan, overrated. Washington, Penn State, SMU, and Tennessee at 16 through 20. And then 21 through 25 is Utah, Iowa, Houston, Louisville, and MIZZOU. Gentlemen, let's go line by line here. 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through T14, 16 through 20, and 21 through 25. Anything you like, anything you dislike about this poll, I'll kick us off. I still, as I said about the coaches poll, I think Oregon is the preseason number 1. I do think they are returning the most talent. I loved what Dan Lanning does as a head coach. I love the system that he has. I love the now. Granted, we don't know what a post Wilstein.
Did you bring your computer charger now?
Nice, Chase. We cannot hear you, or we can hear you, brother. That's the problem. And I don't really know what's going on here with Chaser, but I'll continue my Oregon take. I think they're the preseason number 1. I do think Georgia absolutely is the preseason number 2. I actually have Ohio State as preseason number 3 when I eventually release my poll. The Irish have the schedule to be preseason number 4, and Texas has the talent to be preseason number 5. So I really have no issue with the teams in the top 5. Maybe just the order a little bit different. Luke, how about you?
Yeah, I got Oregon. I think will be my number 1 just because Dante Moore's coming back, and I think he is the far superior quarterback than Julian Sayin is. I have no other issues. I think these top 3 teams, you can probably flip-flop for the majority. I mean, and also, you don't know who's going to come out and play. That's the whole issue with this is like, yes, you can have the class, but are you actually going to come out and play and win games? So I don't know. I have no issue, though, with this top 5.
We are going to wait for Chase to find his computer charger. Oh, he's back. Chase.
I'm back. I'm
Chase,
back. I'm
taking
back.
a look at this top. Yeah, he's back. Taking a look at this top 5, Chaser. What do you like? What do you dislike? We're going row by row here.
I think Oregon's a little bit too high. Um, I I think Notre Dame is criminally overrated, but I know the schedule will keep them there. But I think Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas do deserve to be in that position. I just think Oregon, yes, they are returning a really good roster.
Bang.
Bang.
I believe he was going to say Oregon is returning a really
But
good
they
roster.
need to drop back behind Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas, which I agree with the Notre Dame thing. I honestly, and have you seen all the Notre Dame cope going on? It's like, oh my gosh, our schedule's so tough this year. We play 3 top 25 teams. And their top 25 teams is what? BYU, Miami, and
Yeah.
who's the third? Who's the third one?
U.S. No,
they dropped that.
I literally think they just played BYU and Miami.
I thought they had.
No, they play a
Hold on.
third team.
It's not SMU, is it?
Maybe.
It's like another sub.
I mean, we're not calling Wisco or UNC. I mean,
No. BYU, Miami, SMU. It is SMU.
it's SMU. I mean, SMU's gonna be pretty damn good.
Okay,
this
well,
year, so
I did
can't
see all
hate.
these teams, and like obviously, I love the troll Notre Dame fans. I'm on my TikTok, and this guy's going. I mean, we might play 4 or 5. UNC might be ranked by the time we get to them. And then he said Navy, which I can see the Navy.
I can see Navy being
But
ranked.
like that's not a top 25. It's like Navy is going to be probably ranked. But like UNC being ranked, highly doubt it.
Highly doubt it. Chase is going to try to resolve these technical difficulties. We're going to go into the next line now. Indiana 6, Miami 7, A&M 8, Ole Miss 9, Oklahoma 10. I mean, yeah, I think Indiana's slotted correctly here. I mean, the defending national champions, so I think they're returning the same team as last year. No, so I don't think they should be in the top 5, but I have no problem with it. 6, same with Miami. I'm actually not 100% sure if this Miami team didn't get better. It's just the teams in front of them probably deserve to be there a little bit more. I love A&M at 8. I do think they're a top 10 preseason team. I love Mateer and Oklahoma at 10. I have major problems with 9.
We know you do.
And like I said with the coaches poll, I do think they deserve to be ranked. I think it's the 16 to 20 range will be about where they, kind of settle in at, I guess. And Michael explained the producer
Quarterback.
Well, that's
the whole.
It's going based off what they did last year, what you're returning, et cetera, what you are on paper. And on paper, Ole Miss should be pretty good. Schedule is awful. It is so hard.
Really?
Yeah, complete contrast from what it was last year for the Rebs. And they had struggled in some games last year Ole Miss, I'm not a big believer in Pete Golding as a head coach, first-year head coach in the SEC. He's been a coordinator this entire time. A lot of times these coordinators in the SEC don't go straight from being a coordinator in the SEC to a head coach. A lot of times they'll have a jump spot, like a G5 program, etc. He's going straight in from the Saban tree, so typically will work out decent. I just don't think he specifically is the guy long term at Ole Miss, and I think that'll start to simply show their cracks this year. I think that's a 7-5 football team. Any issues you have with and stuff you like about 6 through 10?
I think 6 and 7. I think that's fine. Both are returning. You have both 2 great head coaches. Both are returning enough talent. You just have a new quarterback, which both quarterbacks should be pretty.
Well, I think, like I said, Michael said, and I agree. Mensa's an upgrade at quarterback potentially for Miami.
I think with his athleticism, he is. But it'll be
in the college game. I want to preface that. I do think Beck's a good quarterback, and I exemplified that last year. I just think more for the pro game than the college game. So
yeah, I would actually I would switch. I would put Oklahoma, A&M, then Ole Miss. That's how I have that.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
I think OU. This is the best team they've had in a minute. I think Mateer, second year, I think will go stupid. I really do. We saw when he was actually sort of healthy last year, really good. So I think kind of have a good feeling about Mateer this year. And I think their schedule's like crack. I don't think it's like Arkansas bad.
Yeah.
I think their schedule's manageable. I know they have to play Michigan, and that's their out-of-conference game. I don't know.
They'll get that done.
Yeah, it's in the big house, so it'll be interesting.
They'll get it done.
Okay. I don't know what to expect this year. It's such a Yeah, it's wishy washy.
I tried to hook the bait. I could not land. I've got a problem at 11. I think
I
that's
do too.
completely hearsay.
I think
it's literally just based off the head coach and a couple of players. Do I think they absolutely had the potential to be a top 10 team? Sure. We don't know anything yet about this LSU team, how they're going to be as a cohesive unit, how that program's going to function at LSU. Is the same success that Lane Kiffin and his staff had at Ole Miss going to transfer over to LSU immediately like that? I think it's a bit of a reach. I have a problem with Tech at 12. I mean, we have essentially it is the backup quarterback starting. Whether
was
you
it
like
the
to,
same guy from last year?
no,
Morton?
it is not. Morton is
Or
in
not
the
Morton.
NFL.
No, who was the backup last year though?
It's not him.
I'll recognize his name.
They're
It's
going with
Hammond?
yeah, it's Hammond. Excuse me.
That was the backup. I think he played significant time last year because
Or is it him? Yeah. He didn't do great either. So I want to put that out there.
I can't remember. Well, thank you, Patrick Mahomes.
It's Hammond. Yeah,
Yeah.
Will Hammond. I just I'm not a big believer in. I mean, Tech will do enough defensively to be good. I just don't know about 12. Bama has a lot of question marks at 13. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for Alabama. And I think Bama will have a struggle year for Bama this year. And then I have really no problem with USC and BYU, two teams I think are going to be pretty solid. Just stick them in the middle of the pack. I'm fine with that. So Chase, now that you've joined us back, and I'll let Luke, go first here on 11 through 14, and then you talk to me about what you like and don't like between 1 and 14. Chase, Luke, you go, then Chase.
I don't think Sam Levitt. I voiced my frustrations earlier when he went to LSU. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's okay, but he played at Arizona State and they struggled. I won't say they struggled. They did struggle.
Jordan Tyson kept them afloat.
Kept them afloat. And I remember last year they're playing Northern Arizona, the second game of the year, and they only won by 2 touchdowns. And he threw 2 picks. He is a turnover machine. And I get Kiffin's been great with offensively. I just think there is going to be some stuttering out of the gate. They have a tough schedule too. They have a pretty tough schedule. So I don't think they'll end up but then again, if you drop them, I don't know who you move up, honestly. I really just don't. So I guess I'd probably move them. I don't know. This whole row, I think, is full of question marks, but I don't know who I'd put over. If
That's
that
fair.
Makes sense.
I don't hate that.
So because LSU's a question mark, Tech's a question mark. Their defense will be good enough to win them the Big 12, but quarterback.
I disagree that they'll win the Big 12, but that's okay. We'll get into
I
that
have
later.
to look. I think I said their defense should be good enough to win them the Big 12, but okay.
It is the year of the East.
And then Alabama, another question mark. Is DeVore finally going to get it done? And then USC, I think they've got the good enough quarterback. I think Lincoln Riley, to prove itself here, he really needs to win something or else he might lose his job. And then I'm fine with BYU. They returned a bunch of guys. I know Chase hates BYU, but I think they returned enough guys where
it was a damn good team last year, whether you like to say it or not. And
Bear should theoretically
Bear,
take a step. So I think this is fine at 14.
Chase, catch us up.
Well, we'll go 1 through 15 since I got cut off by my stupid computer. But anyways, I'm gonna start off. I think out of the top 5, I think Oregon. I like the roster they returned, but I still am a little bullish on a Dan Lanning-led team. I think he's a great coach. I just don't think he has enough to truly be considered elite. Oregon hasn't really done anything in his tenure that's made me believe this is a team that can win a national title. And I do think this is a great roster again, but we saw Dante Moore when the lights got really, really bright not play his best. And it's still kind of rings true to me what Indiana did to them. And I understand that was one of the better college football teams of all time, but I think it's just with what Indiana did last year, I just think it's a little too high to put Oregon at number 2. So for me, I'd probably go Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Indiana, or Indiana, Oregon. I think Indiana's getting a little disrespected there at 6. I know that, you're missing Fernando Mendoza, but this is, this is what he does. This is what Cignetti does, and I think Josh Huber is a fantastic quarterback. He was a good quarterback at TCU. I think Cignetti makes him great. The wide receiver room is good, and we got to shout out my boy Patty up there.
Yeah,
Hopefully, going to
Patty
get a little bit of
McAteer,
playing
shout
time.
out, baby. He's gonna get some points on.
He's going to get some playing time, so I want to see them do well and be successful. But I do think Ohio State's the best team in the country going into the year. Going into the year. Um, then looking at it kind of from like that, I think, Oregon slots in after that top 5 at 6. And then, looking in that 7 to 10 range, I don't like any of these teams. I think Mensa, was a good portal get from Miami, but if you look at what Darian Mensa's done over his career, he hasn't been a perennial winner. That was Summerall's worst year at Tulane was with Mensa. He went 8-5 last year at Duke, or it
Did
may
he
have been
win
8
the conference?
he did win the conference, yes, but he went 8-6. But he also lost to UConn.
Oh,
He
we
lost to
know.
Tulane.
We're
I mean,
trolling.
these are teams that you can't lose to when you're a P4 quarterback. And you know,
Does he play
I
defense?
just I'm a little bullish. I love Malachi Tony. Don't get me wrong. I do love this Miami roster, but I do think that there will be a tiny bit of regression coming off of last season
He
and just
won
that
the
the talent they have. I
ACC
think
at
Carson Beck's a damn
Duke.
good quarterback. So
He
All
won
right,
it at
let's stop.
Duke.
Come on, guys.
We got to keep.
What'd you say?
I'm about to say my computer's about to die, so let's keep
When was
rolling.
your laptop about to die?
Well,
Wow.
then we're sitting here. I think Texas A&M is not going to be as good as people make it out to be. I think their success last season was a little bit fraudulent. Um, I don't love Marcel Reed. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think he's a good athlete. Don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think Ole Miss is completely fraudulent too this year.
Let's go.
I like Trinidad.
Bang.
I like Trinidad and I like Kewan Lacey, but outside of that, I think this team is really weak. I think they got decimated
Yes.
coaching staff wise, did not have great portal pickups. I don't love Pete Golding as a head coach. I think it's going to be really tough for Ole Miss to repeat last year's success. And then Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma probably out of this group of four, Miami, A&M, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma is probably the best team out of that group of four right
This is
there.
shocking.
I still am a little bullish on Oklahoma, but you gotta respect. I think Mateer has a better year than he had last year. I think he's put on a little bit of muscle mass.
He looks
He
huge.
still can't read a defense to save his life, but I do think this Oklahoma team's going to be good. That defense is going to be awesome, and I think Venables is going to have a really good year coming off a fantastic season for them. So I think Oklahoma will be really good. And then when we're looking at that 11 to 15 range, I think actually Alabama's a little bit slept on here. I don't necessarily know how good Alabama's going to be this year, but I do think that they'll be better than Texas A&M and Ole Miss. I will say that here right now. I think Texas Tech, because of this schedule, will be ranked higher. I don't necessarily think Texas Tech has a top 10 roster in the country, but I think that they have it easily with the roster they have. They have a top 10 schedule. There's no doubt about it. I think that they mow through the Big 12. I know you like the Cougs, and I know BYU's still going to be in the mix and probably Arizona State, but I think Texas Tech mows through the Big 12. LSU, I'm kind of with you, Luke. I think Sam Levitt, it's a I like him, but this is also a guy who lost to Mississippi State, on a superior Arizona State team, and the Dogs came in and whooped him. So, I mean,
watching that right
y-
now.
That game is on the TV right now.
It's like
That's how you know Mr. The Dog.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Advantage.
like, and we whatever we say that the Mississippi State team, they were in the bottom half of the SEC last year. Sam Levitt did
They
not
should have
look
beaten
great.
Texas.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Sure.
I'm not dissing Mississippi State
rolling.
here. I'm saying that Sam Levitt is not SEC ready. I'm saying that. That's all I'm saying. With better, like I do like the LSU wide receiver core. I do think it's a good roster, but I just see 8-5 or 8-4 written all over this LSU team, unfortunately, this year. And then USC is actually a team I'm pretty high on. I like Maava a lot. I think this is a make it or break Lincoln Riley year. They've recruited well. They've done well in the portal. Like it's time. You either go or you don't. I like their schedule. It's decently favorable. And then BYU, I think with the Notre Dame non-conference game, I think that is going to be tough. But I think they will have success in the Big 12.
Yeah, and I think USC's got this freshman they brought in that is absolutely his defensive end is absolutely huge.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, huge.
For the sake of time, pick a team you like in the rest of the top 25 and pick a team you dislike. Should be pretty hard.
I'm gonna do
considering
2 dislikes.
No, you got to pick one. And if the person in front of you picks one of the ones you're thinking of, pick again. A team I like, Houston. I do think they win the Big 12. I think they're returning like 90% of their offensive production and around the same for defense. Big believer in Willie Fritz. Hell, he got me to commit there. I am a huge believer in Weigman. I'm a huge believer in the culture at UH, and they are going to take a massive step forward. And they have a pretty favorable Big 12 schedule this year. So, big believer in the Cougs. I hate, and I'm going to leave this for Chase. I think he's going to pick the other team that I don't like in this top 25. But I hate Tennessee in this top 25. I don't think they're a top 25 football team at all. And the reason I'm saying Tennessee and I'm getting to go first, and that's the team I'm going to pick out. One, I think both of y'all would both agree. And then two, I think Tennessee is the team that's furthest away from the top 25 in this top 25 poll. I do not think they will finish even close to receiving votes. I am not a big believer in this Tennessee team at all. They have no certainty at quarterback. We are going to get someone who is brand new in the SEC with an absolute gauntlet.
It's gonna
We
be
have
McIntyre.
Well, it
That's
probably
the
is going to be
report.
McIntyre. And here's the thing: we played against both these quarterbacks. We played
We
against
played against McIntyre.
McIntyre,
I
excuse
didn't think
me.
we played against the
Um,
other guy.
nothing to me screams SEC day one starter. I just
Gotta
and I
care.
hate Josh Heupel. His look pisses me off. So I'm absolutely picking Tennessee. Who do I like more? Luke, you get to pick next.
Yes.
Just kidding. I love Chase.
Oh,
But
God,
I
wait.
know I'm coming with you.
All right. Team I like. I'm gonna roll with SMU in the ACC.
I agree. Yeah.
I think Jennings getting a building named after him has to mean something. I think they're going to come out here and have a really good year in an extremely weak conference. Team I dislike, I'm going to go with Penn State.
I agree. Yep.
I do not think they're going to be able to transfer all those guys from Iowa State to Penn State, which the Big Ten is a tougher conference than the Big 12, first off. And is Rocco Beck coming over? I mean, he's a great quarterback, don't get me wrong, but they were very average at Iowa State last year, were they not?
Yeah, they were. I would say above average. They were a good team.
But they weren't top 20
They were.
I've got a rebuttal for this.
because I don't think you're going to be able to bring, because I'm not saying it's the Lane Kiffin argument, but it's kind of the same thing. He's bringing an entire roster over from a different school. Obviously,
Different conference here too.
yeah, conference here too. It's a step up in conference. Now, Matt Campbell's obviously, I think Matt Campbell's a great coach. He's not Lane Kiffin. I think he's a great coach. I just don't think. Let me pull up Penn State's schedule.
You want me to read it to you? I have it right
Yeah.
here. This
is
was
it
this
easy?
was the argument I was going to make.
Okay,
Penn
so
State
Chase
might
has a
have
rebuttal base of the schedule.
Yeah.
Penn State might have the weakest schedule in the
Michigan.
Big Ten. So they start off with they go Marshall,
They do.
Temple, Buffalo for the
They
non-con.
do.
Then Wisconsin, Northwestern, USC, Michigan, Purdue, Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, Maryland.
Yeah, that's easy. They
They'll
won't
lose to
play-
what? They'll lose to
I've got 3 games on here that's losable, but you're looking at a 9-3 team, and that's going to be
think they'll
about where they are
lose
in the
at the
rankings
Big
if they're
House.
9-3. They could lose to Michigan, Washington, and USC, but that's
Yeah.
it. Those are the only tough games they have on their
Oh,
schedule.
man.
Chase, who's your 1-1?
That's a walk. But I still think they won't.
The team I actually really like. I really do like Washington. I think
I like you, though.
Washington with Jed Fish. I like what he does. I liked what he did at Arizona, and I think they made some big waves bringing back Damon Williams, who is a really freaking good quarterback. I think LSU wanted him over Sam Levitt, so that shows you what type of quarterback they've got up there at Washington. This is a Washington team that was in a lot of tough games last year, almost beat Ohio State. And I think they just built on that. They had a good portal window, so I do really like Washington here. And there's a bunch of teams that I don't necessarily love, but I'm gonna pick out. I think Missouri is a team that we always get behind, like because everybody likes Eli Drinkwitz, and rightly so. I don't really love this Missouri roster. There's no continuity at the quarterback position. They continue to let us down. Now, I do like Ahmad Hardy a lot. I will say that. I think he's a fantastic running back, and I thought he was hitting the portal, and I thought he was going to go to a bigger program. But I just don't think this is Missouri's year, honestly. I think that there's going to be some other surprise SEC teams, to come out of that pack that'll take the spot of a Tennessee, take the spot of a Missouri, and one team that we're going to talk more about here on the pod, I'm sure, but I love Florida this year just because of who they got at the helm. I
Yep.
love Florida. I could see Auburn being decent.
Yep.
And I could see,
Michigan
after
won't
the
finish ranked.
disappointment of last year, I want to say South Carolina could be pretty good too. So I think those teams
I think you're
are
realistic
better
though.
than
This year it's a
Tennessee and
really hard
Missouri, but
schedule,
we'll see
and
how it goes.
We play a very hard schedule.
yeah, Michigan's schedule's atrociously hard.
Yeah.
And
We have to
Yeah,
play
that's
every
why.
single
I mean,
good Big Ten
I do
team
like
plus
I do
Oklahoma.
like Bryce Underwood, and I mean, I love the hire, but man, that's a
It's gonna be
tough
very
schedule.
interesting.
that is true. It's also a really weird environment right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Bryce Underwood does have a quarterback coach this year, though, so maybe we'll take some strides.
Premier League table preview. I am going to be going first, and this is I can't wait to see what Chase's facial reaction to my Premier League preview. Arsenal are the champions. They're going to be the defending champions, and they're going to do it again until somebody proves they can knock Arsenal off. I'm taking them, and they arguably have an even better midfield with Bruno G. I've got Man City in second. They still have a championship roster. They could still win this entire thing. I just don't trust year one. I don't trust Pep as much as I trust Aarda at the helm of Arsenal. Excuse me, sorry, I'm stumbling. But anyway, Chelsea I think is a team that really is going to progress a lot this year. They at some point all the spending has to actually formulate to an actual football team, and I think Alonso is finally a coach that can make this happen. I think Cole Palmer is going to be coming out with a vengeance this season after being left off the World Cup squad, and I really like Chelsea to get into Champions League football. I also like Villa at 4. It's basically me betting on Unai Emery. They've lost talent, but they've reached a point where their floor is extremely high because of their manager, and I'm a big believer in the Villa system. I've got Liverpool at 5th place. Their ceiling is much higher, but I'm not assuming you lose Salah and multiple defensive starters, you change managers, and you immediately become a finished product. So I'm going to keep them at 5. Again, a reach here for me of obviously a little bit biased, but I just want to see a little European football for the Geordies, Newcastle United. It's basically just me really betting on Newcastle's resources and athleticism, winning out over the chaos. And I'm a big believer in the new gaffer in Yasil. I've got Manchester United missing European football this year. I like Carrick. Here's the thing, though. You're projecting over a 17-game sample of Carrick last year. You're adding Champions League football to this. I think we are going to see a type of Tottenham regression from Manchester United, who I think will go deep in the Champions League. I just don't think it'll be at the level of Tottenham almost getting relegated last year, being the same for Man U. I've got Brighton at 8, Everton at 9. I'm bullish on this Everton team. I'm calling them they're just a steady Eddie, and there's some really solid players, especially with Jordan Pickford and the net at Everton. I've got Tottenham bouncing back this year. They finished 17th last year. I just love what Spurs have done in the offseason, adding Tonali and Fernandes in the midfield. Crystal Palace at 11, Bournemouth at 12, Brentford at 13. I think Leeds United deserves to be talked about at 14. They're better than a regulation team, but I'm not convinced they're deep enough offensively to become a top half team yet. I think they will regress a little bit in terms of expectation. 15th, I've got Sunderland. 16th, Nottingham Forest. I think it's just barely good enough to keep from being in the heat of the relegation battle. I picked one team coming up from the championship to stay up. I'm going to go with Coventry City. I don't think that's a reach. This is a team that scored 99 championship goals. They added Carl Rushworth in goal. They've spent some real money. They've added Matt Grimes. It really is the question is whether Haji Wright and Ellis Sims can score at this level. But every year I want one promoted team that can actually hurt a Premier League side. And, Coventry scored almost 100 goals. So I think the attacking mentality keeps them up. I am not bullish on the Producers Club, Fulham Football Club. I do think they get relegated. Unfortunately, I think it's Fulham this year. Marco Silva's gone. Arabola is taking over with a substantially younger project. Real Menendez, Harry Wilson's gone. So I'm not big on Fulham this year. And then I think Ipswich Town and Hull City are clear 19-20. Who is up next? It will be Luke. Talk to me about your Premier League table.
I was going to start to write the words. We got to listen to it. All right, that's all I play. Well, I'm hoping because I don't really know anything about this because I got to start watching it now. So 8 a.m. on Sunday. I'm excited. I'll be up anyways. But Manchester City, I'm going to pick them to win it because Erling Haaland is my hero and they are my team. I can't even remember who I got last time.
My Charger.
But it was bad. 2 is going to be Arsenal. They won it last year. You know, Chase, I know we're supposed to be rivals, but I'll give you some props. I won't be like Will and just bury you. So I'll put you all at 3.
He loves doing that every sport.
Oh, I know. I was like,
It's professional
I mean,
rage baiting. So
I know.
I
I
respect
know.
it. I respect it because I'm about to do the same thing to his club. So
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think they'll be that. I thought, weren't y'all like in like 3rd or 4th last year too?
just in third. I'll
Yeah,
give you.
so
I'll give you all. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I
good
think
take.
three's man. And then I got Liverpool at 4, Liverpool at 4, Chelsea at 5. I got Tottenham at 6. I've seen a bunch of clips of people talking they're going to be good, so why not have them at
Yeah.
6? And then 7 through 17 doesn't really matter, so I'll just kind of read them off. I got Aston Villa, then I got Newcastle, I got Brighton, then I got Benford, I got Nottingham Forest, I got Bournemouth at 12, 13's Leeds United, 14's Everton, Crystal Palace is at 15. Why is my computer about to die? Coventry City's at 16, Sunderland's at 17, Fulham's at 18, Ipswich Town is at 19, and Hull City's at 20. Bang.
I'm not gonna lie. Luke
Ah.
does have a pretty good track record.
I'm sure
So
Luke just
I
delivered
just
an
want to say,
absolute
like, if y'all
unbelievable
want to put a
analysis.
futures bet on Manchester City to win it all, that would be. I wouldn't.
might do
I
that,
wouldn't hate
actually.
it at all.
I might add it to the future. I'm going to do it right now.
What is Man City at on the future?
I would not hate it at all.
You can hit it so Chase can analyze.
Yeah, I'll let Chase analyze real quick, and then I'll announce.
I'm betting on it right now.
Oh, this is so bullshit. At 2.
All right. So we're gonna start off. Arsenal, I think, look like the strongest squad going into this season. The squad depth that the Gunners have available is just absolutely unreal. Made good signings. I think Bruno G is going to completely unlock Declan Rice. I do think that they will start a little slower than last season with Saliba and Rice being banged up coming into the season. Besides, Bukayo Saka is not 100% right, but I still like this squad a lot. I think Kai Havertz has been in great form. So I do think Arsenal will repeat as champions, as much as it pains me to say this, but I think they are absolutely loaded and are primed to maybe look to win the treble this year. Maybe the domestic treble, maybe they get that elusive UCL. I don't know, but I think Arsenal is far and away the best squad in the Prem this year, and I don't think it's even very close. I've got Manchester United at 2. And I've been toying back and forth. I had Liverpool originally too, but they do have a first year manager. I love Iriola. Don't get me wrong, but we're banking on a Liverpool team that did just lose one of their best players of all time. It's a changing of the guard, and we haven't really seen anything out of the new group of players. Like, granted, Isak was injured, but their best player, Hugo Ekitike, is going to be injured for a good portion of the season, coming off an ACL tear, or I believe it was an ACL tear. So he's going to be out for a good portion of the season. I think it just makes it very tough for this Liverpool side to really get going. Maybe Isak plays well, but I do still think that there is tons of questions at outside back, tons of questions in the defense now that they sold Konate. I think Van Dijk's getting old, so I don't necessarily trust Liverpool to sit there at second. So I got Man United at second. I think, Man United retained a large portion of their talent. They continue to sell the dead weight. I think Marcus Rashford coming back is going to be a big boost. Now, this is me also going out on a limb, knowing the transfer news. I do think Manchester United go buy another midfielder and get Lewis Hall from Newcastle, and that's just what we've heard in the news. That's what's going to happen. I think Man United makes 2 to 3 more signings before deadline day, because the squad as it is right now, I think if we're looking at squads today, I would actually agree with Will's rankings about having Manchester United outside of the top 5 potentially, just because they haven't made signings. But I think they're going to back the manager. Manchester United always leaves it late, always goes get somebody right before deadline day, and they know that they're going to have to strengthen the squad going into the season. But I like the pickups of Andre Santos and your team Lemons. I think that makes the team a lot better. And I think that, Michael Carrick plays an exciting brand of football that, you know, Manchester United is going to play well. And they have one of the best players in the world with Bruno Fernandes. And then, we talked about Liverpool there at 3. Manchester City, I really, I'm really not sure what to make of them this year. I think losing Pep will drastically hurt this team. They just sold Rodri to Barcelona, which is a humongous loss. That midfield just doesn't fill me with a ton of confidence. Like I like Elliot Anderson, but outside of him, I mean Phil Foden or Cherky's at the 10. I think Cherky's more of a pretty player. Foden has been very hit or miss. And then who are you playing next to Elliot Anderson? I mean, it's just not really blown away with that. Then you've got two pretty much left wingers with Semenyo and Doku that one of them's gonna have to play on the right. And then you look behind it, the defense looks shaky to me, and Donnarumma has not necessarily filled anybody with confidence. I'm not a big fan of Maresca either. Now, if they go out and sign Enzo away from Chelsea, I think this City team could be a little bit better, but I'm just not buying into this Enzo Maresca led Manchester City team. Typically, when you have an elite manager like Pep, we saw it with Manchester United in the early 2010s. We saw it with Arsenal post Arsene Wenger. It's just hard to follow up an elite guy like that, especially with all the charges and allegations against City. And then at 5th, I actually do have Chelsea. I'm high on this Chelsea team. I just think it's too early when you look at their defense. Their center backs are pretty weak for the most part, and they don't have a ton of wide attacking threats when you consider they're about to sell Pedro Neto and some things like that. They're losing a lot of wide threats. I think they probably go with Xavi Alonso's 5-4-1. So you're looking at double tens with Cole Palmer and Morgan Rogers, but I don't know if they necessarily moved the needle enough. I think it's going to be this Chelsea team will be better than they were last season, but I think it will still be a struggle in Xavi Alonso's first season because they didn't get that much better than where they were last year. But the team that I think is going to make the biggest leap from where
Yeah,
they were
no
in
shit.
17th last year, I think Tottenham is definitely going to be
No,
fighting for Europe, could be
Tottenham,
fighting for top 4.
Tottenham, 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 Tottenham,
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Tottenham,
Thank
I
you.
think, will definitely be fighting for top 4. I think they come up a little bit short, but I really loved what they did in the offseason. I like De Zerbi a lot. I think that, bringing in a guy like Sandro Tonali is really going to help this Spurs team. They spent a lot of money, which, you know, it could be bad business, but they got considerably better. I still am a little hesitant to believe in their attack, but there's in talks to bring Savinho over from Manchester City, which he could help as well. So we'll see what happens there. Villa, I have at 7th. I love Unai Emery, but unfortunately, all the best players from this Villa team from a season ago, they've all left. Ollie Watkins just left to Saudi, unfortunately. You had
Which
Morgan
I
Rogers
hate. I
leaving.
hate that move for Ollie
I
Watkins.
hate the
By the
move. I
way,
hate the move
I think it's
too.
disgusting.
You know what's even sickening? We did our fantasy Premier League team last night, me and my buddies, and I picked up Ollie Watkins, of course, because I'm like, oh no way he goes to Saudi. And they just announced today that he's going to Saudi. I'm like, no, this is terrible. So I just think that you're losing too much right before the season. I just think Villa's probably going to take a little step back, not a big one. They're still in Europe. They're going to have a lot going on. So it's going to be tough for Villa to really be dominant again. And then Leeds, I think Leeds is going to be fantastic this year.
I
I'm really high
disagree.
on this Leeds team. They brought in Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson's an absolute dog. Was a dog last year at Fulham. They have played really well in preseason. Daniel Farka is a coach that I really do like, and I think that this Leeds team is going to make the jump. They did also get James Trafford from City, who is a fantastic goalkeeper. A fantastic goalkeeper. Should have been Manchester City's number 1. So
He
I do think
should
this
have
Leeds
been a
team is going to be the
fucking
surprise team
Geordie.
of the season.
He should
What
have
were you
been a
saying?
Geordie. He should have been a Geordie. He was going
Yeah,
to
he
be a
should
Geordie.
have.
I
I
have
mean,
no
we're
idea
talking about all
why
these
we did
things
not
that
pull the
should have been.
trigger.
I'm gonna get to Newcastle. Trust me. Brentford, I think, is gonna hold strong for what they did last year. Didn't really lose a lot. Looked pretty good. Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth takes a step back from last year, but I think they'll still be good. I really like Krupi. I think Ryan is gonna get a big move potentially in the winter. Alex Scott, Tyler Adams, fantastic midfield. I think this Bournemouth side will for sure finish top 10. Brighton's always a good shout to be in the at the about the middle of the table. I think Everton same way. I think Njai had a pretty rough summer, So I'm not really sure how they're going to look, especially losing Grealish back to Manchester City. I don't know how Everton's going to look this year. Sunderland will regress a little bit, losing Shaka, but that is what it is. I think Newcastle has been absolutely ravaged by transfers, and then firing your coach right before the season isn't good. Now, they won't be in a relegation battle. I just think it's going to be a tough season for Newcastle.
Love the
They
Gaffer.
do have the Saudi backing. I think y'all will spend a lot in January. This is not going to be one of those types of seasons. I do think Newcastle will still be solid. I just think it's going to be a really tough start to the season because there's no continuity there, and it's hard. It's hard to win the Prem. I'll be completely honest. I'm a little bit higher on Fulham than a lot of other people, and this is just for me because I want to see our Americans do well. I want to see Jedi Robinson continue to have success, but I think Fulham will struggle this year. But I do like Alvaro Arbeloa. I think I think it's Gonzalo Garcia or they just call him Gonzalo from Madrid. Played really well last year. They brought in another academy lad from Madrid too to Fulham. So I don't know how his tactics will equate to the Prem. I think they'll be solid, and I think they'll be have enough to stay up. I actually have Coventry at 16th. Coventry, what typically teams from the championship that get promoted get relegated the season after. It's really hard to stay up. However, I don't think that's necessarily the case for Coventry. I really like this Coventry side. Scored a lot of goals led by the American Haji Wright. Put up a ton of points too. It wasn't even close. I think they won it with about 5 games left last year. So
Yeah, it
I'm
was
I'm high on this
clear.
Coventry City team. I hope they do well this year. And Palace, I've got them barely hanging on. They are in absolute shambles right now. The amount of transfers I wanted to relegate them. The only reason I didn't was for Chris Richards, and that's the only reason. I've got Forest being the first team to go down just because they had such a tumultuous season last year. Firing coaches, I just think it's a really tough spot. And I don't know if Morgan Gibbs White will have the same season he had last year to keep them up. Hull and Ipswich, I just it's great stories that they both made it. Ipswich, we already saw them come up and get sent down. Hull, it's the first time in the Prem in a couple years. I just don't see it. I like both the squads, but I do think that they will both get relegated.
I'll just ask you about this. Why Hull over Ipswich? I think Hull is drastically the worst of the two.
So here's the thing. Hull did spend a tiny bit of money, and Hull has a better home field advantage. Ipswich, granted, it's a great story, but have you seen where they play? Like,
Yeah,
it's in the backyard of a bunch of people's houses, and they tremendously struggled last time they're in the Premier League. I don't know if that, kind of equates. I don't really know enough about Ipswich, but I know Hull's rise last year to make it to the Prem. They went on an absolute tear to even get into the playoff spots and won in the playoffs, and they did because one of the one of the other championship teams was spying on their practice
yes.
and ended up, I forget who it was, but that was a crazy story last year, and I just think Hull will probably finish a little bit higher, but I think Hull and Ipswich are almost locks to go down this year.
All right, best things that happened this weekend. I'll turn the camera a little bit to Luke so he can read what he put. Chase did not update it. It seems. So
Well,
thing
I can roll
he
with
he
it
has
again.
he still has Michael's best of the weekend. Best things of this weekend: golf tournament played in the member scrambled and best ball format tournament this weekend at Colonial with my brother Michael, which I guess turns into hanging with the producer. It was Michael's last weekend in town. Enjoyed the time with my brother. Enjoyed playing some golf with them. Played much better on Sunday than Saturday. Then UFC 330. Everyone had said this card was going to suck. It was going to be terrible. Actually, the fights that everybody said was going to be good are the ones that kind of sucked. And every other fight was an absolute banger. Tons of finishes, and I really enjoyed UFC 330. Luke, what happened this weekend?
So Mr. Joshua Baez went 3 for 3 against the Cubbies with 3 bombs, or 3 for 4 against the Cubs with 3 bombs. Now, I already know. I don't know if Jason's going to talk about this, but every time I bring this up, he's 0 for his last 18. But his expected batting average, he's still pissing on the baseball, and he's hitting it hard. It's just you got today, guy made a catch up against the wall. I know yesterday, left fielder made a diving play or a sliding grab. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's not striking out as much as I thought he would, but still, Joshua Baez with the greatest MLB debut in history for his first 3
Fantastic debut.
bombs, especially in the fashion against the Cubs. Love to see it. We got our first football game tomorrow. I am so excited for this. That's kind of why I haven't been on the podcast. I've been coaching, and it's a lot of late nights, and I got to get up and
make it work, man.
I know, but I have to get up and go to work in the morning.
Gotta go to school. Anyway, I'm not gonna argue with this.
But no, it's lots of football. I'm ready for our first game, so very excited, as Will probably saw when I got here. And the last thing, I'm going to glaze the Cards a little more. The Cards are hot. I think they're playing some really good baseball. They're 11-5 in their last 16. They're starting to get some momentum. Baez coming up, although he hadn't had a freaking hit since the home run, he has still provided a little bit of some juice for the rest of this Cardinals lineup. So I think we're going to have a very fun into the season.
Chase, before you get started, breaking news, Charles Oliveira versus Diego Lopez is booked for UFC 332. The BMF title will be on the line, and this will be Diego Lopez's debut at lightweight. Chase, go ahead.
Well, and then other breaking news, the Brewers are beating the Mariners 22-0 right now.
Brewers are up 22-0.
Yes.
22-0, yes.
They're doing unholy things.
3 touchdowns.
Unholy things to the Mariners right now. This is bad. 24 hits to 5. 22-0. That might be the ass whooping of the season. But I actually am gonna roll with what Mikey's got at 1 here. I saw Spider-Man for the second time this weekend. Kind of solidified for me that I think Marvel's back. Marvel is back. I was very, very pleased and thrilled with the new Spider-Man movie. I've only heard 2 of my friends give me bad takes, and I've come to the conclusion that they just don't know ball, because I thought this was a great movie, very grounded Spider-Man movie. I'm excited to see what they do next with the character, but I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man out of the 3. You can fight me on that, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the movie. And then my second one's going to kind of stay Marvel related. D23 Expo is always a big deal for kind of like the Disney entertainment window, and they had a lot of really cool announcements headlined by a great Avengers Doomsday trailer, which I am so hyped about. Really looking forward to this movie. I think Doctor Doom's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, really excited about that. And then the last thing, Fernando Tatis tonight hit 2 home runs and robbed a grand slam from Francisco Lindor. I mean, what can you say? This guy's he's a top 10 player of baseball. I don't care what people say. I love the guy. My favorite athlete. I'm gonna glaze him for forever. So.
All right, well, that'll do it for episode 82 of Swiss Army Sports. Sorry for the lagging at the end. This has been Will, Luke, and Chase. Until next time, have a good night.